Well, I started working on this U-joint. I lubricated and beat and pounded on it. Couldn't get it to do anything. I tried a Sawzall, wouldn't cut it. I got my plasma cutter and I hacked off a bunch of it here. And then finally I just took a cutoff wheel, cut the other side. I was afraid I was going to get too much weld on the drive line, but I got it sorted out. Now I've got one new U-joint for a Dodge, and the bearings will go in just barely. They went in pretty good when it was hot, but that's good. But the problem with this U-joint is that when I try to put it in, it won't go. Just not quite right. And I got these other U-joints. I've got this one here. I don't remember whether it was one I bought for a Dodge, or I think this is one of them that I picked up in the... I bought several U-joints and a bunch of hardware, and it will go. And it feels like this bearing off of this one, which does fit this, goes on this U-joint. I can't tell if there's any play. It doesn't feel like it. Might be a little, but see, this is the cap that'll go in off of this U-joint, and these caps off the smaller U-joint, they're just they're way too big. I mean, the shaft's way too big. So this is a smaller U-joint, but I think I can take the smaller U-joint and the bigger cap, and I can make this work. If it's only a few thousandths difference, a couple, 2, 3, that'll probably be good enough. You're going to find my micrometer here and see how big these things really are. Well, the big cap one is about 657 thousandths. So this one's 657, and this one, measure it. This one's 658. So I got a thousandths difference, and that's, really not much at all. Some of it might be off in my measuring. I'll have to make sure I got the how long these caps are, but they look like they're almost the same. So anyway, I think that'll work to use the big caps on the small U-joint. Oh man, I got a whole bunch of bearings here. I hope this is out of the... Yeah, it's probably out of this old U-joint. I was real careful with the new ones. So anyway, that's what I'm going to try to do, is put the big caps on the small U-joint and get it into here, and then I'll make the rear end fit this this other piece here. Well, this was the new Mopar U-joint that I got. And I've got the clips here, and looks like this one's gonna go in all right. It's yeah, it's starting. On this side, not so much, but I think what I can do is get this clip in the side that it's supposed to go in, and well, I'm probably gonna knock it across the shop. Nope, went right on. Got that one in, and if I take my drive line up here, try to knock this in. That should have gave me enough room to get my other clip in. It looks like it. So, whoa, man, I got it really tight. Well, once I get that clip on, I'll whack it a little and see if I can loosen it up. But it was pretty loose until I just now hit it. Anyway, I'm gonna see if I can get another clip in. Well, I got the other clip in and just tapped it a little on the free joint side, and towards that last clip, loosened it up real good. So now I have a good U-joint in the drive line. That one there, I didn't really mess with it because it's floppy, and you know, it seems to be lubricated. It might be worn out, but this one here was just rusted solid. It wouldn't move at all. And you can see the bearings here, they're no longer round and rusted. So at least I got a good joint. Now I have to get it over to the rear end and modify the rear end to fit this. Now I believe that these I took off of the other U-joint, the small U-joint, are the ones that were fitting the rear end pretty good. These new ones might be a little too big, I don't know. But I knew I was going to have to modify that rear end a little. It was too skinny on the width of the lock to really hold it. So now I'll try that. I may wind up, since I know that all of this U-joint stuff is the same size on the inside, I may have to use the caps off of this one. See, they're unmarked. The others have a number on them. So I'll get whatever is close as I can, and maybe we'll get this drive line sorted out and on the road to being ready to bolt up. Well, I measured it. The rear end stop to stop is 3.2. The U-joint down here is 3.29. So I got to take 45 thousandths off of both sides. And 45 thousandths is not a whole lot. You know, thickness of a matchbook cover or something. And I got my little air tool here. I can probably get right in there and just open that up a little and see what kind of results I got. Well, that opened it up to 330 and I only needed 329, so I think that's going to be good enough. Couldn't really get it real straight with that round cutoff tool, but most it could be off would be, you know, like 20 thousandths, and I don't think that'll make a lot of difference. So see if I can get it up in there and bolt it in. Well, I did a little measuring and experimenting. I don't know if you can see right in here, I've got a this was a piece of like a flat hose clamp. Here's the other end of it here, and it was the right thickness. Might be a couple thousandths too thick, but it went in good and clamped up good, and I'm hoping that it'll stay. And then I gotta go to this other side here. You can see there's a little gap in there, and I'll put this one in and clamp it up. We should be good to go. Like I say, I hope that other one will stay in there. If it don't, no big deal. I'll put this one in and squish it to the right shape, and we'll see what that does. Well, this one bolted up real good. You can see just a little bit of the hose clamp that's in there. It's not really a hose clamp, it's solid. It's not got a bunch of corrugations in it. It tightened up good. I got two brand new bolts for the rear end. I've got one old one in here. It looks like it's probably plenty good enough, but looks good. I can feel just a tiny bit of play in that U-joint. Might be the bearing, but I think that's good. You got both of them tight. Of course, I'm just going to turn the rear end. So, there's Mr. Driveline in. Got a Zerk fitting around here somewhere. All these U-joints I can take out and put in there. Pump it full of grease. But I'm sure that's good enough. There's no play in it at all. I got one more thing I can measure. I'll find my calipers here. We'll see how much distance I got here. Looks like that's 183. Measure it again. That was straight. 183, 185. Turn it around to the other side. And it says 204. So I'm 15 thousandths off. $183, 180, 200. So I need to move it 10 thousandths back that way. We'll just loosen it up and give it a whack with a hammer and see what happens. Well, that one was 203. Rotate it around to this side. Of course, that's all rusty too, so. And this is 200. So I'm within 2 thousandths thickness of a cigarette paper or something from being on center. No use adjusting it right now. I got to take it all apart when I put the transmission in. But there's my final U-joint assembly. Took the parts out of 2 U-joints and made it work. It's all good. Like and subscribe. Well, I got into my piece of plywood my buddy gave me. It's not focusing for some reason. There we go. You know, I was trying to mark it best I could. Man, I must have cut it 20 times. You can see all the pieces and everything else I cut out of it. Problem is, it wouldn't go in full size, and it wouldn't twist and go under anything. And finally, I quit using any kind of care cutting it, just whacking it out with a sawzall. But I got it in, and I can get it in and out. And I got it lined up here pretty good in the middle of this frame. So here's part of the floor. I must have spent 2 or 3 hours on this thing. It's a good thing I had a used piece of cheap plywood. I mean, it's good enough. It's not a big deal. It actually don't look bad at all. I've got a lot of rivets on it to keep it off of the frame, but I can go whack it with a hammer and it'll make me a little dent, and then I can take a drill it out. I still don't have doors closing. You can see where they're hitting. So quite a bit more cutting to do to get the doors to work. And I wound up with a pretty big hole up there in front. trying to clear all those braces and stuff. But I can make something to patch that. I thought about just cutting it straight down the frame there, all the way back here to the door, and make another piece for that side. But I wound up getting it in, so good enough. Now I guess I'll try to cut one more piece for this back. That's good for the floorboard, but I'm not got anything here to start trying to mock a seat up. So I'll get out there and fire up my saw and cut me one last piece. Kind of clean up my mess here. But since it is heavy welding wire, this was the next best thing. I must have made 15-20 cuts on that transmission tunnel. I wanted to try to keep it tight, and my measurements didn't work out the first time, but I've got the floorboard coming forward, or the firewall, you know, 3/4 of an inch, so I can bring the firewall right down flush with that, and put a angle bracket on it and bolt that floorboard right to the firewall. That'll make it strong here in front where it's cut out there in the middle. So floorboard plans will work. I get it all sorted out. I'll probably just get me a good piece of hardwood, and I'll be able to take this out and use it for a template to mark the hardwood, and I'll cut it all with a jigsaw, not just rough hog it with a sawzall. Let's see if I can get this other one measured and cut. Well, I cut up this other piece and put it in. It looks pretty good. Looks like I need to do a little cutting and measuring back here. I think my braces for my wheels are a little different. I don't know if I got this in square either. I should have measured it better, but at least I got a floorboard, and I can like I said, I'll get a good sheet of plywood. I'll just go ahead and cut up this one and make what I can, and that way I'll know exactly how much wood I need, and I can measure everything and determine where all the screws are going to go. Yeah, it looks like I should have made it. I'm going to have a little jog there, and it's hitting the cross member. I thought the cross member was below the frame, but apparently it's not. So I'll have to cut a little hole in that, so it'll go down flat, but it's mostly flat right now. Plenty flat enough to put a seat in it. I haven't got around to cutting these so the doors will work. But at least I got a template. I know plywood's expensive, it's $100 a sheet or something. You talk about $200 for a piece of tin. It's not a whole lot different for wood. I've got the basics, and this is plenty good to make my seat risers and sort out all the gas pedal and whatever other stuff that I'm going to put in here. I think I'll probably just make a gas pedal again like I did the brake. Maybe I'll make the gas pedal out of this fucking 1-inch square tubing. Make an industrial gas pedal. I could buy a cable thing, but since I'm making everything in here, I made my King Kong brakes. I'll make up a gas pedal. I've got a little piece of 1x2 channel over there. That'll make a nice little accelerator pedal. I've got plenty of 1/2-inch rod. I got a few feet of it. It's enough. Make myself a hinge. I've probably got a couple small Heim joints that I need to get a carburetor on it too. Don't know whether I'll put a purely mechanical rod in there or whether I'll try to put a cable in it. There's my chipping hammer. I'm looking for it all day. But now I got the, I'll go down and get me a, I got to get some gas, and I'm going to weld the sides on this hood. I got the money to buy the materials for the roof, and I'll do that. And if I buy a whole sheet, they'll cut it for me. So I'll measure it up, get this welded up, and then I'll have them cut me a sheet, and that'll give me my roof piece, and whatever's left here, I'll finish making this firewall out of that, and I'll put this in, and then I can go to work on that firewall and make an accelerator pedal and all that stuff. It's kind of interesting doing that kind of stuff, fabricating new stuff. Doesn't take much to buy aftermarket stuff and stick in it, but I bought enough of it, and one of the things that I use a lot is just a rod that's been around in a hinge bracket with a rubber on it. I think I can make something that'd be a lot cooler than that. Anyway, floorboard's in, so tomorrow the gas store opens. I'll go get some more gas, and we can move forward on this a little more. Well, I went down to the steel store today, or gas store, got me some more welding gas, and stopped by a lumber store, and I got a 8-foot 2x6 kiln dried. It's real nice wood, and I put a 6-inch piece in here, and it was just too high, and so wife bought a radial saw, and I was able to just take 1 inch off this stuff. I did a pretty good job there. You can see where my two cuts match. You can't even tell really. And the problem is I got to put a bolt in this seat going up and down. Yeah, you can see one of the clamps there. So in order to do that, I have to bolt it into steel. I can't, run a bolt 6 inches long through this wood. So what I was originally thinking about doing is putting a piece of angle iron like this on it, and I was going to weld this to the seat, and then all I would have to do is drill a few holes in it, and I could screw it to the board, and on the inside I would do the same thing. So that all worked out pretty good. I've got the seat in. It's it's solid. It's in the right position. Good enough. I can adjust it a little bit. But then I got these 1-inch pieces and that I cut off. And I was thinking, a good way to do that would be just like this, because this is going to be a pretty nice piece, and I don't really have to use angle iron on this. I mean, I could up here on the top, but I think if I just take a plate and cut it to the right length and screw it 4 or 5 places down into the board, it'll leave me where I can see all of this board. And the same thing here. I need to screw this down to the frame. So I think what I can do is put me like 4 or 5 screws in this. I can drill them. This is 1 3/4. I got some 2-inch screws over there. And put a little glue in them and screw it down, and then this will give me a 1-inch board that I can screw into this plywood. I can put probably like 5 screws in here, and this will be strong enough. It's wiggling around because it's sitting on that thing over there. But this will give me a nice looking board here. I'm going to stain them and kind of make them walnut looking like the rusty car is, and that would give it a real nice if I did it like this, it would be all right. It would look fine. But a piece like this on it, give it a lot more class, and it's wider, so it'll spread the load out a little bit over this this plywood. I think I'm gonna go with 3/4 inch plywood. Just bite the dirt, bite the bullet, and get a pretty nice piece. In the meantime, I can mock it all up with this 1/2 inch stuff. Get it all figured out, the right proportions, and how I wanna do everything. Back here in the back, I want it to come out right behind that door and go over to the fender, and then it'll end right there where it's ending now. But I'll get it real close to that well, it's not the fender, I guess it's the side of the car. Make it like a T shape, and I'll get it straight here where it matches the inside of the door. I'll have to cut this one off first to see where it's at, and then I can make this piece here, and I know I can get in and because I don't have nothing stopping me from twisting it, putting it in, and then dropping it down on the floor. So this will be real nice, and the floor will cover up everything, so it won't be hard to seal it. And I can cut this pretty close to the, you know, a 1/4 of an inch from the edge of this door. So this back part will be real nice. Front part is good. It's in there pretty solid right now. I can get in and out. It's clamped on both sides. But see, I got my feet all the way forward. I'm not, right there's a firewall, so I'm not up at the firewall. The door frame here is right back of my head. I can see out of it real well. I've got 2 inches above my head, and I can take my wheel here and I can lower it down and kick back. This would be very comfortable for, see, I got my legs stretched all the way out completely. That'll be up just a little for the throttle. I'll have to do something about this brake. When I weld this on it, I'll probably put it forward a little, so the brake pedal would be about right here, you know, probably 2 or 3 inches below where it's at now. Hot out here, giving me a cold. Not a cold, I don't get colds, but anyway, this is good. It's right in the center, and my other seat will be about right here somewhere, so I'll have enough room here for a little console of some sort. Probably ought to put the other seat in it just to see where it's at, but I'll do the same thing with this one. It'll bolt on there, and this will look real good. And yeah, it'll be fine. And what I can do is put it all in here, and then I can screw these pieces in the 2x6 or 2x5 now right into this plywood, and the seat will have a, you know, then that metal bracket will be on top of that. So I'll just put a bolt in the front and the back, and I can bolt the seat onto the riser, so it'd be easy to put it together and take it apart. This ought to look real nice. Looks like I could probably sand that one, and I'll use it for the inside, no big deal. It'll look a lot better stained anyway. So here's where the seat's gonna go. I'm fine here. I can get out of it pretty easy. If I have a floorboard on it, I can step here and my knee will turn and clear. This is with the wheel down. See, if I move it up 2 or 3 inches, I got plenty of room to get out, step on the floorboard here, and it'd be easy enough to get back in. And then, like I say, if I want to go cruising, I can cruise. So I think this is a good layout for everything right where it's at, and of course, I'll have the seat slider working. It works now. So if you got a short guy, he can slide up next to the wheel, and I can slide it back 2-3 inches. But the problem is this thing here right now is probably like 3 inches above my head. Anyway, here's the seat layout. I think it's going to work pretty good. Going to have plenty of room in here. Still trying to decide on what kind of shifter that I want. You know, whether I want a kind of a long one going down in here into the middle, or whether I want like a short one right here. I think one that would be about, 6 inches in front of the seat and come up about this high, about a 2-foot bar would be easiest to shift. And then park would probably be about the middle of the floor. I like those Lockar shifters, they look real sweet. And but I prefer the little Hurst quarter sticks, they work good and kind of bulletproof. And I can see all the gauges pretty much from here. So this is a good place for a seat. Sorry about all the long-winded talk, but kind of explaining what I'm going to do here. And now I can move forward to fabricating it. Well, I'm putting this roof side panel on here, and I got it as straight as I could. I cut and butt this part. Is pretty bad, but at least I got it straight. I'm gonna have to do something with that. It's pretty bad. Anyway, what I do is move it along here and clamp it with a piece of angle iron to hold it flat on this 1-inch piece, and then use my pinchers there to hold this in, and I'd beat it in, and that gave me a line of where the top of that 1/2-inch square piece is. And then I scribed it, cut it off about halfway, and then I come back and clamp it and tap it in. I'm getting into some pretty rusty stuff up here now, but that's what I'll do. I'll just clamp that down, scribe it, cut it off, and then I'll clamp it. You can see I clamp it and weld on each side of it, and I should be able to walk this forward. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do here. I should not weld that on there so I can get a piece in there. Well, I'll get it within a couple inches and finish up this last piece I got here, and then I'm going to have to decide. I think I'll do it like that one over there. I'll just cut this off flush with the bottom of the bar. I'll bring that bar out to bring this bar out to the edge of here, and then I'll go ahead and finish that, and then I can make my sun visor deal. So that's what I'll do. I probably ought to cut that off right now and weld a bar in there while I can still pry this out of the way and weld on it.